The meeting for the Planning and Zoning Board of the City of Riviera Beach will commence today, Thursday, April 14th, 2022 at 6:36 p.m. Before we get started, I'd like to say welcome to our visitors, our guests, and of course our residents who also view this live stream session. We often get feedback that they are paying attention and enjoy these sessions. So I'd like to also say welcome to our residents as well. And before we get started, I'd like to add a caveat, and that is, if you wish to speak on any item on this agenda, please complete a public comment card and provide it to the planning and zoning staff, and they're right in the back. The cards must be submitted prior to board discussion of an item, and I thank you very much. And at this moment, we are going to have a moment of silence and pledge allegiance led by our board member, Mr. Anthony Brown.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Ledger, you are stepping in for Ms. Davidson?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so at this point, we're going to have a roll call of attendance, please.
Russell Barnes, Moeti Nubi, Frank Fernandez,
Here.
William Wiley, Margaret Shepard,
Here.
James Gallen,
Here.
Anthony Brown,
Present.
Renee Burgess, Evelyn Harris Clark.
Present.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have
Thank you so very much. Okay. Before we move on to our agenda, I would like to say on behalf of the City of Riviera Beach that I'm hoping that Miss Attorney Lina Busby is watching us. We wish you were here in person, but just maybe you are watching this P&Z session, maybe for the last time. We express our heartfelt appreciation and gratitude as our planning and zoning attorney. Your municipal legal expertise has been very instrumental in guiding the decision accuracy of this board on city business over the years. Our board and members have been successful due to your municipal knowledge, legal clarifications, and professional support. I personally thank you for the many times you offered positive feedback on that our meetings operated well. We wish you and your family continued blessings and best endeavors as the Busby family moves forward to new adventures and opportunities.
Madam Chair. We did get acknowledgement from Mr. Russell Barnes that he will be absent for tonight.
Yes, okay, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda. Do we have any additions to the agenda, staff?
No, ma'am.
Any deletions to the agenda?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Savage. And on to the next item. Do we have any board members with disclosures? Hearing none. Next item. Adoption of the agenda as presented. May we have a roll call, please? Mr. Ledger?
Frank Fernandez,
Yes.
Margaret Shepard,
Yes.
James Gallen,
Yes.
Anthony Brown,
Yes.
Renee Burgess, Evelyn Harris Clark.
Yes. Okay. Next item, approval of the minutes from our last meeting, February 24th, 2020. May I have a motion to accept approval of those minutes?
So moved.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. May we have a vote?
Frank Fernandez,
Yes.
Margaret Shepherd,
Yes.
James Gallen,
Yes.
Anthony Brown,
Yes.
Evelyn Harris Clark.
Yes.
Item pass.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Savage, do we have any unfinished business?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, on to the next item, which is new business.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Mary Savage Dunham, Development Services Department. The first item of new business is a resolution of the City Council of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving plat application PA 2103 from BLP Blue Heron Commercial to combine approximately 57,520 square feet of abandoned canal right-of-way with the adjacent vacant parcel of land to the south, identified by PCN 5643422937000030, into one lot totaling approximately 4.91 acres in land area for the real properties located north of West Blue Heron Boulevard, south of West 23rd Street, east of R.J. Hundley Avenue, and west of Avenue O, identified by PCN 5643422937000030, and including land formerly designated as canal right-of-way, providing for conditions of approval and providing for an effective date. So as we discussed, this application is to permit the combination of abandoned canal right-of-way. Yeah, let's see if it's not showing up on the screen. But the board, you do have laid out in front of you a hard copy of this presentation, just to make sure that you can see everything clearly in this room. On the screen, the box identified in red is the affected area. And you may recall that this parcel is a narrow in width. It's not very deep parcel along West Blue Heron, and there's a drainage canal at the back of it. And the applicant had applied to abandon that canal, put the drainage underground, and absorb that land area into the development area. So this plat application was submitted recently to combine the canal right-of-way with the vacant parcel, again to support redevelopment. The larger project includes an abandonment of the canal, a site plan for commercial development, a rezoning to general commercial, and a land use change to commercial. Those other permits were previously reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Board and advanced. Once the plat has been reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Board, all permits associated with this redevelopment will then be programmed for the City Council to review together. So this picture shows you the proposed combined area for the redevelopment. And I did include, although it's not before us tonight, some renderings of what ultimately the proposal will be for the redevelopment. And staff fully supports this proposed replat as it creates a larger developable parcel, which enables the redevelopment of this underutilized parcel, and it also memorializes the many easements on the property. So staff recommends approval of the plat application, PA 2103, from BLP Blue Heron Commercial, to combine approximately 57,520 square feet of abandoned canal right-of-way with the adjacent vacant parcel of land to the south, identified by PCN 5643422937000030, into one lot totaling approximately 4.91 acres in land area for the real properties located north of West Blue Heron Boulevard, south of West 23rd Street, east of R.J. Henley Avenue, and west of Avenue O, identified by PCN 5643422937000030, and including the land formerly designated as Canal right-of-way, providing for conditions of approval and providing for an effective date. And with that, I'll turn the floor over to the applicant team for their presentation.
Good evening. Could you state your name for the record and how you represent the applicant?
Absolutely. My name is Seth Bain. I'm a land use planner and attorney with Lewis, Longman & Walker. I'm here tonight on behalf of Stuart Hankin and BLP Blue Heron, the owners of the property, as their agent. There's not going to be too much to add to staff's very useful and thorough presentation. I'm going to run through a few slides that will look very familiar to what you've just seen. As you pointed out, this is for a replat this evening, combining the property with the Canal property to the north of it. This has come before you before. In fact, I think 5 of you were on the board when we brought the full package together for the prior approvals that were necessary. So what we're doing tonight is just approving the technical review of that plat that Ms. Dunham had shown. And again, here's a slightly blown up version of how that looks. The original plat for this property, when it was platted and that canal easement was created, was part of this larger parcel. That person created this lot and dedicated that canal to the city. And now, as we said, the depth of that's made it very difficult to redevelop. So we are piping that canal and incorporating it into the lot. I'm returning it back to the original owner. Here's what that site plan looks like. What this allows us to do is have the landscaping, a wall along the back, and circulation behind the buildings front along the street, consistent with your zoning code today. And that's what drove that configuration. And these are the things you have just seen, that as renderings. So this is effectively what we're here to approve tonight. This is the box and the easements that staff had created. We worked with them to make sure the easements for utilities, access, that drainage, et cetera, are all reflected on here. Staff had reviewed those and agreed that they're sufficient, and the language of those is as the staff proposed. So those are their findings. Staff supports this replat and recommends approval. So we would appreciate your support, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, well, thank you so very much. I do remember the project. As a matter of fact, I went back into the archives and pulled that session, and it was a lot of discussion to get the company this far into the process. So how I'm going to do this is that I'm going to start off with a couple of questions, and then I'm going to defer to our lonesome colleague down here at the end.
Time out.
And we're going to move straight on down. Okay. Ms. Dunham, I'm just going to ask if you could clarify for the board that at the time the applicant went through the initial process of potentially looking at abandoning the canal and absorbing that into the plat, after that, much after that, I believe it was sometime mid last year, that we as a board began to look at abandonment and associating a cost to it because it was real property that the city would be giving up. So you and I have already had this discussion earlier this week, but I thought for the benefit of the board members here in that vein to clarify, so that just in case the question came up like I brought it up, that you clarify from the staff perspective when the applicant was in front of us and when we made that decision about the real property.
Yes, ma'am, that's a great point. And what Ms. Clark is referring to is our abandonment process. The Development Services staff advanced an abandonment ordinance, and it has now been adopted. But as you know, when we adopt a regulation change, it affects projects moving forward. This project had already been submitted, so this project is not compelled to follow that ordinance. Nonetheless, I do believe there was at the time some due diligence given with regard to the development. So we're protected moving forward, and there's conditions on those other permits thoughtfully placed. So I don't think that there's a big delta.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. And going back into the archives, I couldn't find the answer to this, but maybe the applicant and the representative. And I like the applicant because I'm very familiar. I remember you, but plus I just looked at the videotapes this week. If you could just introduce yourself again. If you like. And we may have questions. You might as well hang out over there.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stuart Hankin. I am the applicant. I am the owner of BLP Blue Heron Commercial LLC. And yeah, happy to answer any questions.
Okay, great. I'm not sure if this is a staff question because this may have preceded the new staff from the planning and zoning, and maybe the applicant would be able to answer it. And this is just a refresh of my memory. When there's an opportunity that sometime in the future that after you've developed the project and you may decide to sell the project, you may get one of those offers you just simply cannot turn down. I don't remember how we resolved the aspect of the underneath canal, the piping, if the new owner is going to be responsible for the maintenance of that canal, if that is grandfathered into the title, if that purchase happens to come about. Also, if you can refresh me and let me know if we had decided that you currently will be responsible for the underneath canal channeling and maintenance, and then what will happen if you in the future sold it. I just need a refresher. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've had extensive discussions with staff. So
Let me take. I'm going to take that only because I'm the one who's been negotiating that detail with the city. The answer to that is yes. We've entered into a maintenance agreement. That maintenance agreement is we refer to as it runs with the land. So what that means is it's not personal to Mr. Stewart. It's personal to the owner of that property, whoever it is at that time. And it's set up with a couple different protections. It's our responsibility to build it. And I say that, it's kind of interesting. We talked about the cost of it. When we were first looking at this, the cost of piping this canal and enclosing it for this entire length is an extraordinary cost. It's over $500,000. So part of the consideration, as you were, is that we are taking away this maintenance responsibility from the city in this instance. We're fixing this canal that's already been eroding into our property, so it's been already a burden to us. We have to build it consistent with the city gets the authority to review that engineering, to approve those plans, we're going to build it how the city tells us to do it, and we're going to be responsible for the maintenance in perpetuity. The city has the right, if it ever, at any time, that we don't do it, if they've got to come in and fix it, they do it, and they lien the property. So that becomes a lien on the site, so nobody could sell it. It would be like a tax lien. So again, that's against the property owner, not against Stu personally. It's whoever owns it. So whoever buys the property down the road, should it, it'll of course happen eventually, that owner will always be responsible for it, for the cost, and responsible for the cost if the city has to go in and fix it themselves. But the city's first responsibility is just to pick up the phone and say, hey, something's not working here. You guys have to get in there and fix it. And that's for the responsibility of the property owner, whoever that might be.
Okay, well, thank you for the clarification. I just remember we did have a conversation, but I just needed a refresher.
It's been a while.
All right, so I'm going to defer down to my colleague.
Good evening. First of all, I want to thank you for bringing business opportunities and development into our community. I just have a couple of questions regarding the construction side of the house, as far as hiring local contractors and local Riviera Beach residents. How would you go about that?
Stu, you're doing work in this area already. I think it's an important point. Stu actually has been building.
yeah, so I'm a local company. I have a local construction company as well. And we have been building houses in Monroe Heights and other areas around the city, and we definitely look to hire and use local companies. So when we go about the bidding process for construction, we still have a long way to go before we get to that point. But we'll have an open bidding process, and more than happy, and I would, prefer to hire local and whatever, means. I think that I've spoken with the council about this. There are some ways in which, when we put out bids, those bids can be solicited directly by local companies.
Thank you. And when do you plan on construction after a city council approves? Do you have a time frame to break ground and start work?
From there, we have to then get our permits approved, and our goal is to start building right away. There's definitely, I would like to start building a few years ago. Yeah, we definitely want to move forward as quickly as possible.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Okay, Board Member Brown?
Madam Chair, I found a few typographical errors on the plat. If it's the board's pleasure, I would just turn it over to staff, if that's okay,
Okay.
instead of going through them all. What would you prefer?
I'm not sure I understand.
I found three or four typographical errors on the plat. You want me to go through them now, or turn it over to staff?
No, I just want us to get the questions out first. Not understanding. Do you have any questions?
No questions as far as the plat, no, apart from the errors on it.
Okay, and then we'll move into making a motion about the combining of the plat. Is that okay?
Pardon?
I said we'll finish with the questions, and then we'll make a motion about the combining of the plat and then vote on it.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
what he's trying to say, he's found errors on the diagram.
Oh, okay, then by all means, please address that with, who do you think is representative to address that? Staff or that?
Yeah, and we recognize Mr. Brown's a surveyor, so if there are some inconsistencies in that, we are more than happy to clean that up and make sure we've repaired those, working with staff prior to the city council hearing.
Yeah, it should be no problem. It's just a matter of, turn it over to staff and they can take care of it. Or have the surveyor take care of it, rather.
Okay, so, Ms. Dunham, per our board members identifying there are some discrepancies, how do you want to move forward?
And would you classify them as Scribner's errors and typographical errors?
Yes.
Okay, so not substantive,
No.
just corrections.
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know. Madam Chair, the applicant is committing to correct the changes. Mr. Brown is a surveyor. Mr. Brown is asserting that they are typographical errors and they're not, substantive, changing the substance of this. So,
Okay.
it's the board's pleasure. We could go through them all now, or Mr. Brown could simply provide them
I'm going
to
to
staff.
defer to his expertise to advise us what would you like to do, what's the proper procedure identifying these issues?
I mean, it's been done both ways. I mean, the staff has taken care of it before, so it's not a problem.
Okay, so if we went ahead and just allowed the staff to make those corrections, you're good?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so very much. He has a very keen eye.
Indeed.
Thank you.
But Madam Chair, if the board moves to approve, it would be
With
moving
the
to approve
caveat,
with the typographical corrections provided by Mr. Brown.
okay. I'm just going to make a note, one moment. Okay, got it. Okay. Board Member Gallen?
I have one question. I just wanted to know, do you know, have any idea yet of the tenants?
Yeah, I think we're early in that since we haven't even gotten past the zoning approval yet. I know Stu has reached out to a number of possible tenants. I don't think there's anybody.
I can answer. Yeah. The truth is, I haven't reached out to any tenants because we don't have approvals. I just feel like it would be irresponsible to try and line up a set of businesses to occupy the space before we even have approval to build the space. But
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Board Member Shepherd?
To the gentleman right there, I think you were the one that put the kind of project before us.
correct.
I want to thank you for coming. That was enjoyable. I like how you presented it. And I think this will be a real lifelong structure here in the city of Riviera Beach. And I just want to thank you. The only thing is, now when you're going to build, when is the project going on? Going to start?
From here, I think we need to do 2 city council approvals.
Okay.
And then submit for permitting. And, we're not going to delay at all. We're going to draw up construction documents, submit for permitting, and try to build. We're ready to go.
Okay, so you just wait now, I know you, for the approval of city council.
Correct.
And after that, you get the permits and blah, blah, blah.
Correct.
So we're talking maybe about another year?
Yeah, I mean,
If approved?
yeah, sounds about right.
Okay, well, I said because I have to pass it every day. And
Yeah.
I always look to my right and I see that and I said, when are they gonna start that project?
Yep.
So that's all. I thank you for coming and presenting that to us. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Not too many I enjoy, but I enjoyed you.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
And just to piggyback after what Board Member Gatlin just said, that eventually you're going to move forward in front of our city council. Of course, they have the last go round of yay or nay. And right where you have presented your schematic, this was way before we were talking about reimagine Riviera Beach. And so now I'm just hoping that when you get in front of the city council that you have at least been seeing those sessions on Reimagine Riviera Beach. You know that right up the street the fire department is being built. I think you might be the next shovel in the ground. And those two dynamics are going to change the face of Blue Herring. And so it's just going to be very important in terms of the type of tenants that you would get to complement the niceness of your building, as well as the thought of Reimagine Riviera Beach, where we're trying to make that entertainment corridor. Okay. So I just wanted to say that, give you food for thought when you get to that part. Okay, so it looks like we have all of our questions out of the way, and the next step, I am going to make a motion to approve plat application PA 2103 from BLP Blue Herring Commercial to combine the abandoned Canal right-of-way with the adjacent vacant parcel of land to the south. The parcel control number has been identified, and it is real property with the typographical changes that have to be made on the document. That is my motion, and I'm going to ask for a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. And Mr. Ledger, may we have a vote?
Frank Fernandez,
Yes.
Margaret Shepherd,
Yes.
James Gallen,
Yes.
Anthony Brown,
Yes.
Evelyn Harris Clark.
Yes.
Item passed unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. And you're welcome to stay and enjoy the rest of the session. Okay. I'll give you a chance just to go ahead and leave before we move into the next item. Thank you for coming. And happy Easter as well.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, we'll just give ourselves just a second. Thank you. Good evening. Give ourselves a second just to regroup.
right, ready? Madam, if I may, so the second item of new business tonight is SP 2116. It's a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving site plan application SP 2116 from Sunshine Builders LLC to construct a 3295 square foot triplex with associated parking and landscaping on approximately 8,744 square feet of land located at Avenue I and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, identified by PCN 564342320102200070, having a medium-density multifamily residential MF15 future land use designation and a downtown residential zoning designation, providing for conditions of approval and providing for an effective date. So this application is to permit the construction of a 3-unit residential building at the northwest corner of the intersection of Avenue I and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. And you'll see on your slide, it's highlighted there in blue. And to the right, the image there is the site plan. This is a close-up of the site layout and the landscaping. The applicant is putting in a number of trees around the site, and they have adhered to the regulations with regard to building frontage. This is an image from MLK. So the proposed use is a permitted use in the downtown residential zoning district. The downtown residential zoning district promotes infill and redevelopment of existing downtown residential neighborhoods. New residential uses will enhance and respect the existing neighborhood fabric and accommodate diverse housing options, including apartments and townhouses, in a manner that is compatible with single-family houses. The proposed project is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The development of this property is compatible with the adjacent development. The immediate area has vacant land to the north, a single-family house to the right, and to the west, and then street right-of-way. Water, sewer, roads, and garbage are all available to the site. The site has incorporated street trees as well as buffer planting into the landscape plan. The planting plan looks good. The code requires multifamily residential uses to include a buffer screen. That's defined as a 6-foot-high opaque vegetative landscape screen along the length of the adjacent private property, in this case the north and the west. Where the required yard is less than the specified landscape buffer width, in this case it is, a lesser extent of buffer is required, but the goal for a 6-foot opaque screen remains. For this reason, staff is recommending the board condition a 6-foot opaque wall on the north and west property lines. To the west is an existing single-family home, and the lot to the north is vacant now, but a single-family or 2-family house would be permitted on that lot. Also, the view from the property to the north would be directly into the carports, so having a wall there, the opaque screen, as the regulations require, is advantageous for everybody. Site access is proposed via a private driveway. Each unit is required to provide 2 parking spaces. This project has proposed to provide carports under the units for the parking. Staff has advised the applicant that we would recommend a condition that the carports may not be enclosed because they must remain in use as parking spaces given the lack of other surface parking on the site. The applicant has agreed to that condition. So for staff, we support the project again. We recommend approval of the site plan application, SP 2116 from Sunshine Builders LLC, to construct a 3,295 square foot triplex with associated parking and landscaping on approximately 8,744 square feet of land located at Avenue I and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, identified by PCNs 564342320102200070, having a medium-density multifamily residential future land use designation and downtown residential zoning designation, providing for an effective date and subject to the following conditions. 1, Construction must be initiated within 18 months of the effective date of this resolution in accordance with Section 31-60B of the City Code of Ordinances. Demolition, site preparation, and/or land clearing shall not be considered construction. Building permit application and associated plans and documents shall be submitted in its entirety and shall not be accepted by city staff in a partial or incomplete manner. 2, the City Council authorizes city staff to approve future amendments to the site plan administratively, so long as the site plan does not deviate greater than 5% from the originally approved site plan. 3, this development must receive final certificate of occupancy from the city for all buildings and/or units approved within 5 years of the approval of the adopting resolution, or the adopting resolution shall be considered null and void, requiring the applicant to resubmit application for site plan approval and reinitiate the site plan approval process. 4, applicant shall install an opaque masonry wall on the north and west property lines to buffer the adjacent properties. The wall shall be 6 feet in height, except in the front yard setbacks, where the height of the wall shall be 4 feet in height. 5, the carport shall not be enclosed. 6, the driveway shall be posted as no parking. And that concludes my presentation. I invite the applicant to present to the board.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to review our application. As Mary provided on the screen,
Pardon me, we'd like for you to state your name and your title and the role that you have in the organization.
My apologies. Derek Chenevard, DKK Consulting. We are the engineers and agents for the project, and we have been working with Mary to obtain the site plan approval and meet the requirements of the city.
Okay. And your other colleagues here, are they part of, are you here alone or with other representation as well?
I'm here with the owner and colleague of the project.
Sure. And may I ask you, Mr. Owner, if you could stand up and acknowledge yourself as well?
Yes. My name is Carlos, last name Ramirez, and I'm representing Sunshine Builders Group.
Okay. And you're the owner for this project?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you. Welcome.
My apologies. I have a tendency to just get right to it.
We have a tendency to stop you. And
I appreciate that. So this is the project that Mary presented earlier, and we'll have a few more details than the staff report, but if there's any questions as I move through the slides, I'll be happy to answer them. So this is just a general cover page of the project. And as we move in, we get into the site plan and all the information associated with the site plan approval process. And as you can see, we have 3 units that are facing the Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard roadway. And each unit has its own entry into their space. And the highlighted areas or the boxed out areas you see in the alleyway side of the structure is the 2-car parking carport that will not have any garage doors, but there'll be an open parking for the units.
was that red pointer working on the screen by any chance? No? Okay. All right. All right. Thank you.
All right. And with the colored elevation you see here, this is the perspective that you'll be driving by as you are going down Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and you can see further detail of the covered entries as well as the individual spaces or the individual entries into the units. Here, what we've included is a typical floor plan. This is the lower level where we highlight the 2-car carport or two vehicle parking space in the carport, as well as a kitchen in the lower space, a den or an office with also a bathroom downstairs. This is the upper level floor plan where we're able to provide a bathroom for two of the bedrooms side by side, a Jack and Jill bathroom, so to speak, and then we also have a master suite with its own restroom for the master. Also has a walk-in closet and the stairway access that goes down to the first floor. Here's just the enumerated planting plan for the site, and with the addition of the opaque wall on the north and the west side, these are the plantings that are proposed for the site. I don't think so. I think that was the last one.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll start off with a couple of questions, and then I'll defer to my left to my colleague at the other end, Mr. Fernandez. Is this rental property, or are these units going to be individually sold, or is this just rental property?
These will be rental units, townhome rental units.
And what type of residents are you trying to go after? Are we going after Section 8? Are we going after professionals such as our police department, our teachers, or is it going to be affordable housing? I want to get an idea of this project. I'd like for the owner to address those questions.
Okay.
These are your dollars on the line, and you're
Yes.
here to build, and obviously it's rental, and you're going to make a profit out of this. And
Correct.
I want to understand how this is going to fit to meet the housing need here in Riviera Beach.
Well, basically, it's open for anybody. It's a process. It's basically when we go out there and look for renters that they submit applications. But yes, to answer your question, we're looking for professionals. We're looking for police. We're looking for basically people that are going to like our product, and they will. It's going to be a beautiful one.
Do you have other multi-level units in other areas in Riviera Beach or close by?
No, we don't have
Is this
that.
your first go-round?
Yes, and I hope it's not the last one, because we're looking to, we see a lot of potential here.
Okay, and also, too, what is the propensity that you are opening your units up to Section 8?
Yeah, that's fine too. We're definitely, as a matter of fact, we're working currently, not in Riviera Beach, but we're working currently on the area of, I don't know if you're familiar with, is Windsor, and is in West Palm, but we're close by, and we're working on several units that we just are finishing up, and we got it Section 8 already.
How are you going to handle the maintenance? How are you going to handle the security of this project? I'm really concerned about the maintenance. As you coming in as a landlord, you may know that our city is approximately 30% homeowners, 70% landlords. And we have a problem with landlords that they do not take care of their property, nor do they take care of our city. Now, we do welcome development. We do want landlords here. We do want affordable housing, but we want to make sure that when you protect your investment, meaning that you are going to adhere to code enforcement, that the tenants may have issues, that you take care of it. Maybe they create issues.
Correct.
That you take care of it. We're trying to upgrade our city.
Right.
If you've been close by and you listen to the Reimagine Riviera Beach, we're funneling a lot of money into our city, and they're going to be municipal sort of establishments, but then it invites developers such as yourself to come in, and we want to make sure as residents, as a board, that you are complementing our vision, that you're
Right.
going to adhere to taking care of the property, as well as security. It looks like that area is kind of exposed a little bit, and
Right.
hopefully you've given some consideration to protection, not
Yes.
only of the tenants, but as your property. So that's a twofold question: the maintenance of it and the security of it.
Well, security-wise, we're trying to build and convert this smart homes, meaning having the
Could you
ring.
define a smart home, please?
Yeah, like having ring bells. There's the system. They have cameras, and you can look it up on your phone. Any tenant, any people that want to go over there, it'll have that part of it. You know, that's not their on any way they're going to pay for it. We're paying for it because we're spending quite a bit of money just to build that property. So maintenance-wise as well, we're going to security to finish that up. We definitely want the our tenants to be secure and feel secure. One, and we, if we have to go a little bit further, you know, establish cameras and points, we will do that. That's not a problem. We have done it before, and in terms of maintenance is definitely is the key of maintaining our property. We are not trying to build something new for to keep it and just turn around and leave it like that. We have a team that does checkup. You know, if we need to go over there and repair or whatever it needs to be done, we have that. You know, and basically it's something that is being taken care of. It's a very important project.
And we welcome development. I just want to really make it clear that our community is very conscientious about the behavior of past landlords who have decimated our community and made our property values go down. And I'm saying that to say I'm right where you are.
Yeah.
I'm a landlord too.
Oh, okay.
And so, you know, don't take offense.
No,
I'm
not at
right
all.
with you. I own property too. But my tenants have a tendency to be there for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And the reason that is that I'm very concerned about keeping the property aesthetic up, keeping the grass cut, making sure my tenants don't tear up the property, that they're not bad tenants in the
Yes.
neighborhood. I keep an eye on them because I hear my community. I hear their concerns. And although I'm a resident, I'm also a landlord. So I pay attention to all of that. So I just want to reinforce that we're here.
Yes.
And I'm under the same guidelines that you would be.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I adhere to what my community is saying. And just for staff, the setback where this project is, I'm not really that familiar. Are there sidewalks, or is it just dirt and it's just a setback?
There is a sidewalk along Dr. MLK.
Yeah.
The code requires a minimum of 12 feet, I believe, and a maximum of 15 feet setback. So you do have a printout of this in front of you. It's the one that's 2116.
Yeah.
It might be easier to see there. But there is a sidewalk along Dr. MLK. There's not a sidewalk along Avenue O on their property, but there is one along the roadway.
Okay. Those are the questions I have for right now. I'm going to defer to Mr. Fernandez.
I would like to first thank you for coming into our city and adding additional housing, much needed housing I hope you are able to look around for other lots that have been empty, so you can build upon them. On the security side of the house, it would be a good idea if it's possible for you to include the addition of perimeter cameras with the cloud service, just in case we need access, the police department needs access. It is not going into the individual unit. It is controlled by yourself, your maintenance team, whoever. So I would highly recommend that when you develop the property, especially also vetting your tenants, because you are spending quite a bit of money in today's market for the building. So I'm sure you will make sure you get the proper tenants in there and also keep up the property. If not, I am sure Mr. Sermons and his wonderful development services code enforcement will be knocking on your door to make sure that you keep up the property.
Yes, sir.
Again, thank you very much, and I appreciate everything.
Okay, Mr. Brown?
I have a couple of questions. I see where Ms. Dunham sent a letter to you saying that lighting details are needed. Was this addressed, or is not necessary anymore? A letter that you sent?
So the applicant has my comments and has agreed to revise the plans to address them. They asked if they could wait to hear if the board had any other changes to the plans, and then they will submit them to me.
Okay.
So I'm satisfied that the applicant will meet my comments.
Okay. My second question was on sheet SP1, site plan, and sheet S1. First of all, on sheet S1, it says 2-car garage. It was changed to carport. And there's also carports, right?
Right, so we'll change.
Okay.
That's another edit the applicant.
And the main thing, though, is the location of the carports. On sheet S1, SP1, and S1, they're different.
Yes, you're correct.
All right.
Yeah, those will be harmony.
All right.
Being consistent.
Okay. As long as you address them, that's fine.
Thank you.
I'm done. Thanks.
Madam Chair, my question has been asked and answered.
Board Member Shepherd?
I do live at 167 East 23rd Street, Riviera Beach. Prime property, owned, operated by the federal government. I have a HUD voucher. If you come to my house, if you didn't see my car, you can see my house as well manicured. I have a system. I have people cut my grass. I have them at my air conditioner, washer, dry, they're there. We have another one on 29th Street, another one on 30th Street. Just because a person has vouchers, that doesn't mean they're living in property. You have our estate that's over on Congress, where the seniors are labeled there. Then in the back, you see the condominiums, well manicured. So I don't see what the big fuss is, because people in this city need housing. Housing has gone up to $1,500. So if they come, and they're going to come, I just allude to the fact that we're all living in poverty. I think I live the good life. I do. My rent is $1,500. I only pay $180. And if you get those vouchers programs in there, taking the property, you will get good tenants. The Housing Authority in Riviera Beach has good tenants because we have a good landlord. John W. Hurt, perfect. Anything I need, he will make sure I get it. I hope, I'm saying all this, I don't want to look down on anybody that need housing. If it's public or private, they need housing. And right now, the city of Riviera Beach desperately need housing. Because I have a friend right now, 3 children is handicapped, cannot find housing. So I don't want to look down on anybody. And I welcome you for coming to the city of Riviera Beach. And I look at you, I think you're going to do a great job. You appear to be very well mannered and know what this city needs. We need housing. And I hope and pray that this city will welcome you to come into the city of Riviera Beach. Thank you.
Ms. Clark,
Yes,
one more thing.
sure, you have the floor.
Real quick, since you're working with the city and you're adding the caveats to the approval that we discussed, would you consider adding the exterior cameras and lighting? Because it's great to have extra lighting and cameras. It's like a deterrent. Would you be willing to add that to the exterior, the lighting and the cameras? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I don't see a problem with that.
Thank you.
Mr. Fernandez, you're recommending a condition number 7 that says the applicant shall install security cameras.
Install exterior security cameras and lighting for the rear and the front of the property. And such cameras will be maintained by the owner. And the availability, obviously, if the police department, or God forbid, a fire department, if anybody needs access to the cameras or the storage, Mr. Ramirez or his designee will provide that. And thank you, Mr. Ramirez, for, I consider security numero uno.
You good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you share with me again the fencing? And we don't have the little red light anymore. Feel free to share where the fencing is going to be around the property and the entrance and exit for the tenants in the back, I guess.
Certainly.
Yeah, you can feel free to go and just point.
Through working with Mary and the staff comments, the masonry wall, the opaque screen wall will be on the north and the west side of the property. So it'll be on this property line.
Okay.
And it'll be on that property line here. There'll be 2 points of access for the units. One will be through the carports as well as the street side pedestrian access to the front of the units. And the reason being is that the development regulations for this land use and the zoning for this area dictated that street side access.
Okay, so the tenants will be able to exit out the back. Is that right?
Back and the front.
Okay, and the back, there's, again, a driveway. Could you just run your finger? What do you mean, the driveway?
Yeah, so this is the driveway access for
Okay,
NMI,
okay,
for vehicular access. And then once they park, I'll show you the next slide,
okay.
where they have access into the units. So this is the lower level first floor plan. So within the carport, you get access right through here, right through the kitchen area, and then depending on which unit you're in, you travel here, you have your access up to the upper level of the unit.
No, I meant basically on the street, yeah, not into the street. When they come through the back into the carport,
Yes.
they're coming down some road that you've got back there. And if there's a drive entrance in the front, I'm just speaking front, driveways. They're
There.
entering and exiting from the street. It might have been that other slide, which would have been a better slide.
The site plan slide?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I think I tripped up the system here. So while they're getting everything rebooted, your question is mainly focused on the access from Avenue I to the back of the unit?
Right,
And then that's the vehicular access.
right.
and then the pedestrian access would be from MLK.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, just looking for clarification, that's all.
Just a question, what kind of fence is it? Is it gonna be wooden, or is it gonna be one of the stainless steel fences? And how high?
The staff report requires a masonry wall, and it's going to be 6 feet.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to be a solid structural wall that meets all hurricane loading conditions, as well as it's not going to rot. So it's going to be a permanent
Hurricane windows?
wind loads. So it's not going to fall over during a hurricane,
Okay.
as opposed to like a wooden fence, or sometimes you see those slotted concrete post and panel systems. They have a tendency to get racked and damaged pretty good during a hurricane storm.
One more question, do you have hurricane windows in that building?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's required by law now, is it?
Correct.
Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, your question is the access from Avenue I and then the pedestrian access you want clarity on?
Right, the cars, how many entrances and exits for the cars in the back, the carport? I was just trying to see what it looked like, where the route was, where the
Okay.
road was.
Okay, so what we have is Avenue I, and it's a one-way in, one-way out scenario.
Okay,
25-foot drive aisle. So you come in through Avenue I, you got the 25 feet, and then depending on which unit you're in,
okay,
you park underneath the unit itself, and then when you need to leave, you got plenty of backup space, and you leave the same way you came into the property.
let me ask a question. So there's a carport, I guess it holds 2 cars or 1 car?
2 cars.
Okay, and what if a person has a birthday party, for example, and they got multiple guests? Where are they going to park? Where are they gonna park?
Well, my experience with birthday parties is they find a way, but right now the site doesn't really have the opportunity for multiple, too much more parking than what's under the carport. However, being that this is a 25-foot drive aisle, there is temporary space available for parking, but not permanent parking.
Okay, I'm just asking, just that when tenants have an event, that no one is going to crowd each other and, cause a problem or anything like that. Those kind of things happen. I didn't know if there was enough room to park more vehicles in addition to the 2 carports, so that's why I was asking. And if there's not, it's like you said, they'll find a way. Okay. Any more questions from our board? Seeing none, Ms. Dunham, you were taking notes of changes that need to be added to the motion. So could you restate that with the caveats that are added so that we can make a motion?
The condition that I added is relative to the security, the correction of the garage, the carport, those plan changes the applicant will make before, when they submit to me. So those we don't need to condition. I did add a condition. The applicant shall install exterior security cameras and lighting for the front and rear of the building, and the cameras will be maintained by the owner. The owner will provide the video to the police if needed.
That meets, okay, all right. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion that we accept the applicant's request, Sunshine Builders LLC, to construct a square-foot triplex with associated parking and landscaping located at Avenue I and Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard, with the stipulations that Ms. Dunham has already articulated. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. And Mr. Ledger, may we have a vote?
Frank Fernandez,
Yes.
Margaret Shepherd,
Yes.
James Gallen,
Yes.
Anthony Brown,
Yes.
Evelyn Harris Clark.
Yes.
Item passed unanimous.
Thank you so very much, gentlemen, and best wishes, and welcome to the city of Riviera Beach.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, board, and thank you, Mary. Appreciate everybody's help.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good evening.
We'll give you a moment. Okay. Ms. Dunham, let's see. Workshop items.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our next item is a workshop, and Mr. Ledger is going to bring us through a discussion about comprehensive plan element called property rights. Mr. Ledger?
All right, we're all yours.
Good evening, Josu Ledger for the record, Development Services. As mentioned earlier, so last summer, our state statutes got amended to actually require it for local government to adopt an additional element that is referred to as the property rights element. And of course, they provided language as it relates to when it's required in terms of when does it triggered. So this is more of a housekeeping item where we're trying to be proactive because this actually can have crucial impact to our development process in the city. Tonight we're presenting it to the board as a workshop item, as an FYI to kind of show you guys, give you guys a little bit of background on what it is. And I've actually, staff added the actual bill, House Bill 59, that actually required for local governments to actually have a property rights elements within their comprehensive plan. So just quickly, the slides that's before you, I'll quickly go through it. So in accordance with the legislative intent expressed and statutes 163.3161, parenthesis 10, and 187.101, parenthesis 3, that governmental entities respect judicially acknowledged and constitutionally protected private property rights. Each local government shall include in its comprehensive plan a property rights element to ensure that private property rights are considered in local decision making. A local government may adopt its own property rights element or use the following statement of rights. The following rights shall be considered in local decision making. The right of a property owner to physically possess and control his or her interests in the property, including easements, leases, or mineral rights. The right of a property owner to use, maintain, develop, and improve his or her property for personal use or for use of any other persons subject to state law and local ordinances. The right of the property owner to privacy and to exclude others from the property to protect the owner's possessions and property. The right of a property owner to dispose of his or her property through sale or gift. This is a quick summary of what this means and the potential impact that this may have. This element must be adopted by local government in order to ensure compliance with Florida's state statutory requirements. The city will, in fact, conduct an analysis to ensure that consistency with our currently adopted comp plan, to make sure that the currently adopted comp plan does not conflict with the proposed language by the state statutes. And if there is, we'll make sure we correct that as we go through adopting the property rights elements and the statement of rights. This may well impact future developments and comprehensive plan amendments in the city. Specifically, especially for projects that may have, that may require to amend the comp plan. So this large-scale comp plan amendment. And as it relates to adjacent local governments, Palm Beach County has already adopted the property rights elements as well as the statement of rights, as well as some other local governments, of course, doing their due diligence as well, because they understand the impact this may have if they don't. So staff tonight, we're giving you information to the board for you guys to review, but staff is planning to actually bring this item as an action item on April 20th, which is the next Planning and Zoning Board meeting, for the board to actually recommend their votes to City Council, and subsequently take it to City Council for transmittal of first reading, and hopefully get it adopted soon. This concludes my presentation. If you guys have any questions or discussion, we'll stop.
Before we move on, just for the record, Board Member Shepherd left the meeting. I do have a question. If you're going to bring this back on 4/20 for 4/20?
4/28, which is the next, yeah.
For more detail, how can we as a board get a little bit more understanding and knowledge and familiarize ourselves with what is transpiring as it relates to proposed property rights element, and what other surrounding communities, how they've looked at this and adopted it well. So by the time you get here on the 28th, we'll be a little bit smarter.
No problem. So I have actually, in the back of your packet, staff provided the bill. So if you go through it, it does go in details as it relates to the actual property rights elements. And what staff, we've actually highlighted some areas of that documents to ease your going through it. So that's one way, and it does reference a few state statutes, so you can also look into that. Staff, so as customarily, we will provide the board with the packet with backup materials that has additional item prior to the meeting, as we typically do, so you guys can review, and if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask.
And whether it's Riviera Beach or other municipalities, why did this come about?
So obviously, it's in the state interest to protect property owners, as well as balancing the impact that local governments or county governments have within those properties. So obviously, our comprehensive plan is governed by the states, so they do come out with requirements within the statutes that local government has to actually take actions, provided updating or amending our comp plan to ensure that we are addressing any requirements that the state government may deem necessary to a local government comprehensive plan. So there are background information within the documentations that is provided, so that'll give you guys, the board, a more comprehensive approach to how this came about.
Okay, terrific. Do we have any other questions by our board members? Just feel free to jump on out with them.
I just have just a couple of things. I understand the need to protect property rights, but I also understand the need to protect the city's interest and the impact on society as a whole. Okay? I know you mentioned state and federal, but we also state and local, but we also have federal laws, especially on Lake Worth Lagoon and underneath the Blue Heron Bridge, where we had the scuba divers and everything else, and attracts business into our community. We don't want somebody to be able to build with their property rights misinterpreted, that they can build whatever they want, wherever they want. We definitely don't need a 15-story building on the corner of Blue Heron and Broadway, because I'm a property owner and I want to build something there this high, and it's my property. So we have to have a balancing act here to make sure that our comprehensive plan is protected and we protect the interest of Riviera Beach and its residents. Make sense?
Yep, agree.
And to caveat off of that, how does that relate to, I just want to say, protected lands that, someone buys it and now they want to build, and we're talking about property rights.
So as you go through the document, you will realize that although this language has been proposed and required by local governments, it still doesn't take away some aspect in terms of the right of local government has to protect their interests. Local ordinance is still applicable. Zoning laws are still applicable to make sure that we can direct development. So it does look into both aspects of it. So we understand. Typically, we're planning to actually have a much more comprehensive plan amendment, a bigger bite at our comprehensive plan. But in the meantime, this amendment is necessary because this may impact in the short term crucial developments, either future or maybe in the community. So we want to make sure that we don't get to a point where the cities cannot function, because if the city's doing anything that requires state approval, and if an application triggers the requirement for, if it's a large scale, it will definitely put a halt to that before we actually adopt the property rights element. So we're being proactive. Everybody else, nobody has gone, to our knowledge, based on our research, no local government or county government has gone to the extent of looking in depth to see how to protect their municipal boundaries interests as it relates to this property right. So they've all kind of taken the state's language, which is a statement of rights, and adopt that, because that suffices for the states, and that's what we're trying to do here as well. So when the item comes in front of you, we're trying to make sure that we're providing enough so that our comprehensive plan do not fall out of compliance with the state's statutes.
Gentlemen?
Nothing for me.
Okay. All right. I guess that wraps you up, Mr. Ledger.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's see. No public comments. Any correspondence?
No, ma'am.
And planning and zoning board updates? Any updates?
Our next meeting will be April 28th. We do already have projects scheduled for that, and we do anticipate holding both meetings in May as well. So I know we had a little bit of a break, but now we're back in the saddle, and we're going to have a little chain of projects moving forward for your consideration.
Okay, and we'll move on to board comments.
No comment.
Okay, Mr. Brown?
No comments, Madam Chair.
Mr. Gallo?
No comment.
No comments from my end as well, and I thank everyone for tuning in, and of course, all of the diligent work that our staff does on a daily basis to get us through these meetings. Thank you. Meeting adjourned. May I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.